Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Holistic Healing for Anxiety and Depression. I am so excited for this guest that we have today. She has an amazing story to tell, which I'm so excited to have her share. So we have Christine here, and Christine is a therapeutic arts facilitator and the owner of Paint Your Heart. She's been following her creative muse her entire life, and after a lengthy career in an ad agency production, she entered the therapeutic world of healing arts. So this path led her to the creation of Painting Your Heart workshops and events, where she writes, designs, and facilitates creative wellness workshops, offering a transformative journey through the power of color and art. She's worked with for-profit and nonprofit organizations in the corporate sector, the elder community, women's professional groups, trauma victims, veterans, mental health clinics, struggling teens, and cancer survivors. She's a former ad agency owner and nonprofit marketing outreach specialist with a passion for photography and the written word. So as you can see, Christine has a very extensive history, very extensive background, and I'm so excited to dive deeper into a little bit about how she got into the healing arts. So Christine, welcome to the show. We're so excited to have you here.
Thank you, and I'm excited to be here.
Amazing. So before we dive in, I would love for you to just share a little bit more about who you are and what you do and who you help.
Okay, so if give myself a title, so I'm a creative facilitator and an empathetic guide to help people transform their challenges and their emotional burdens through making art in a group setting. So, what does that really look like? So, it's the folks who are let's see, the folks that just want some freedom from the emotional barriers that have been holding them back in life.
Mm.
And they may not know how to do that, but Painting Your Heart offers a forum for them to come to be in a safe environment where they can kind of be vulnerable and surrender to the creative spirit that's inside of all of us. And,
Mm.
there's a couple things here. Number one, you have to commit yourself to self-care
Mm-hmm.
and to give yourself permission to do that and to nurture yourself. And number two, decide to do it.
Oh,
It's
that's a
two
good one.
different things.
Yeah.
You could just think about that over and over. Well, how would I do it? How could, what would that look like? Where could I do it? Where would I feel good about that? So my workshop offers that kind of environment where other people are coming to see, maybe there's a deeper side of me. There's a creative spirit in me that I've been wanting to access, but I'm not sure how to do that. But I know there's more to this and I'm willing to dive deeper.
Mm.
So who do I help is, there's a bunch of people I've helped all those different communities, but
Yeah.
now it's corporate wellness. So
Oh, okay.
it's employees and managers and staff and even business owners who want to give a deeper experience, a more of emotional connection that they can create within their company and within their business because that experience connects all of the people on a deeper level.
Mm.
It's a team bonding. It's yes, if you want to call it team building, yes, but it's really creating a culture of emotional connection.
Oh, I
And
love that.
who doesn't want
Needed.
who doesn't want to do that? So that would
Right.
be like the corporate arena. But I also want to help women's groups and the mental health community, whether it's the clinicians or it's
Yes.
the actual patient's clients, because this work is a journey into that deeper emotional, almost spiritual side of you that's hidden deep inside, that's waiting for you to access it because it holds the key to creative healing, to some sort of transformation so that you come out at the end of the workshop with revelations, with new information, with knowing that you've tapped a hidden side of yourself that can provide such tremendous information on who you are, how you operate, and how you show up in the world.
Oh my gosh,
It's
I love that so
You
much.
wouldn't think that the creative process and just, allowing yourself to experience could do so much. And everyone's
Right.
journey is so different.
Right.
Um,
And everybody thinks art is just, oh, I'm gonna make something like okay, speaking because I was a psychiatric nurse for 8 years and I know we would put patients through art groups and you just think, oh, I'm just doing a drawing. But I hear the underlying theme of what you're saying is that art is that way of helping you discover yourself beneath the emotional struggles, beneath the hardships. There's someone underneath there that's been wanting to be revealed almost. Does that sound about right?
exactly. So you go through your
Mm.
life, you've got your job, you've got your tasks, you've got your routines, you've got the environment you work in,
Right.
you've got expectations, you've got demands and challenges. That's a lot.
Oh yeah.
When do you say, wait a minute, can I have an hour to just sit and be? Can I
Mm.
kind of access that part of me between the personal identity, mom, um, uh, parent, mom, sister, sibling, caretaker, just female, and
Yeah.
the
That's a
professional side
lot.
of you, and all of the labels and expectations from that. There's a part of you that needs to be accessed. It's like, what do you do in your downtime? What
Right.
what what do you do in that moment when you wake up before you go, okay, what's on the plate today? There's a part of you who needs to kind of enter that aspect of you where you can just explore and just be in a place where there's no expectations and no obligations.
Yes. I love this is speaking to me so much. Actually, I just want to interject with this one point you're bringing up for me because I've been thinking about this a lot lately for myself because a lot of the times we have those expectations that have been placed on us, especially as women. We have these certain labels, like you were saying. And so I feel like a big cause of anxiety and depression for a lot of people is they don't know who they are. And they're trying to fit into this conventional path. They're trying to fit into the rules that society has placed on them. And I feel like when you don't have that knowing, you don't even realize what are your true desires, like what do you even enjoy, like it creates so much disconnection. I feel like that contributes at least a little bit to having anxiety and depression. And so I love that art could be that way of helping you find that path and honor who you truly are, which I think is so beautiful.
Exactly. So as you were talking, I was thinking, so I have a workshop called Creative Recess Hour,
Hmm.
and that's exactly what it sounds like. You
Hmm.
remember when you went out on the playground, the bell rang, you
Right.
went out and you
Recess, what's
jumped,
that?
you
No, just kidding.
ran, you shouted, you climbed, you dodged, you all these things that
Yep.
you did and expressed yourself in ways that was just a physical release, but also an emotional release because what happened that morning in school that you were carrying? What happened? Were you bullied? Was there a conflict? Was there, something where you were embarrassed in class? Was there something from that you were holding on to? And then you had recess and you could go, oh man, thank goodness I'm out here and I can just be me and
Yes.
and let it go. So
Yes, with movement and just
with
having that
movement and
ability,
expression and sound
expression.
and smells and all of that stuff. And so we need that as adults.
Right.
We need to just find that if it's a half hour, if it's anything that gives you that break, anything that allows you to breathe in a different way, to be in a different environment, to be with other people, whether it's friends, coworkers, clients, whatever it is, it's being in a different environment where you can express yourself and feel safe doing that.
Right, which is so important, like you're saying, not just for children, but also for adults. And so needing that space for us to just express and create. And I know for you, just after, getting to know you a little bit and hearing a little bit more about your story, I know creativity has been in your life for a major portion of your life. And I'm curious for you, I know from a young age, you have been experiencing some hardships. You had some trauma that you're working through. And so I was just wondering if you wouldn't mind walking us through like what was going on for you personally in your childhood that caused some trauma, and how did this trauma sort of impact you, growing up?
Okay, so story when I was 4,
Mm-hmm.
I took the wrong bus home.
Mm.
I had a choice between A or B. I took the wrong one and I ended up in like kind of the big city all by myself on a bus.
Oh
And
my gosh.
and then all of a sudden the adults got on the bus and here I am, this little 4-year-old thinking, oh my goodness, I made the wrong choice. I was paralyzed in fear, somehow resolved beautifully, and I got help and I got home. But
Mm.
that was a lasting impression. Certainly wasn't self-aware at age 4 or 5 or even really 10, but that decision impacted me in a way that there was a fear that I would make the wrong decision again. So,
Mm.
and the emotional component of that I carried, I didn't feel safe, I didn't feel protected, and lost a degree of trust with the people who are supposed to take care of me. So
Mm.
what I did, I was lucky enough to be one of five kids, and I had my own bedroom. So
Oh, lovely.
I could close my door, retreat to my room, and what did I do? I got out the coloring books, the crayons, and I went to town. And there was solace in that. There was being able to see that I could do that and finish it and complete it and have control over that particular experience, that particular kind of art. And I could own that and go, wow, that's really nice. I like that. I feel good here. So I would do it for hours. So
Mm.
it was refuge. It was a safe place. So that was the first time creativity kind of entered me, but it fueled my desire to keep doing it and keep doing it. And so that developed into making collage before I even knew what collage was.
Mm.
And yes, like just
Oh, wow.
just making abstract art in ways that I didn't know what it was. I just did it. I ripped out stuff and I put stuff down and I made these pieces of art and I'm like, wow, look at that. So
Amazing.
there was that sort of adventurous creative side of me that was instilled from an early age. And
Mm.
so I think that's what led me to my career in advertising.
Mm. Yeah.
Because yes, very creative, and
Right.
visual imagination,
And I
envisioned
want to
what it could be.
I want to pause you for a moment because I'm just curious a little bit more. I'm so fascinated by the refuge, like when you're mentioning art as a refuge, because especially if you go through something traumatizing as a child, and you felt like you have this lack of trust, and so it could be really really challenging to sort of overcome that sort of lack of trust with yourself. So I'm just really curious for you, like, um how did art kind of serve as that refuge for you? Like, what did you notice it had that impact on you, I guess, with I guess your ability to trust again? Like, did it help you sort of find safety in yourself or in others again? Or I'm curious how art kind of is that refuge for you. Because I know people don't usually see art in that way. So I'm really fascinated.
Yeah. So for me, creativity or art making it was like a visceral thing.
Mm,
It was like a full body experience. I was 100% in. I
mm,
felt, the the motion of putting the color on the paper, the the solace I felt. The I also had music playing, so
mm,
that inspired me. Um, but there was something, it was soothing. It gave me something. I felt safe and protected in that. And I knew what I did was good.
mhm,
Um, my parents said, they complimented me on what I was doing. But yeah, so it's sort of that there was just you know what, I got this. I can do this.
mm,
This is where I'm going to retreat to because this is where I feel the best. And
mm.
so, yeah, so I don't know if that answers your question, but
Yeah,
it just became, woven into the every aspect of me and how
right.
it made me feel. And the more that I did it, the more I was inspired to do more. The more I played with color, the more I got into textures, the more I transferred that whole act of being creative to design, to the clothes I wore, to coordinating things. And it was I guess, an innate knowing I was good at it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it just gave
I
me
love that.
confidence and, self-esteem. And it's like, I didn't need anybody else to tell me. It's just, I felt it in my cells that this was something that inspired me. The more I did it, the more I wanted to do it. So,
Mm. So I'm
yeah.
hearing two big things here. So one of the big things you mentioned is you had it had that visceral effect in your body, and you really felt like you could just be almost in the moment, be really present. It's almost as if you're in a space where your thoughts and emotions aren't really able to harm you because you're able to find this presence in the moment or this sort of mindful state almost. That's one thing I'm hearing. And then another thing I'm hearing too is that you're able to sort of, even at a young age, you're able to find something you're passionate about almost, and you leaned into that, and you nurtured that, and you continued to grow upon that, which I thought was really beautiful because I feel like if we have something where first of all, for one thing, it's hard for children to probably know what they're passionate about because we do have so much conditioning. Like, you're supposed to be a doctor, you're supposed to like this sport. Like, there's so much conditioning. So I think it's really awesome that you had that already, that knowing so young, like, hey, this is for me. Like, I love this. I'm good at it. Let me nurture it. Let it grow. Did that seem about right?
Yeah, if I were to relate it to an adult and, the career I got into, that was my first time of being in the flow.
Mm,
It's just like as I went on this ride,
mhm.
went on this little adventure of color and the process of making art and how, your hands are creating this. And I even got into a lot of finger painting at the time because I liked how it
Oh,
felt.
oh, nice.
Yeah, so that whole being in the flow and just you could do it for hours. And so yes, that was what that was all about, to be in that place and just to allow it without having an ending,
Mm.
without saying, "Oh, you have to stop." And there's no one there to say, "Well, no, you can't do that," or "That's no good," or it was freedom of expression.
Right.
And
Yes.
that's exactly what my career was, and then exactly what painting your heart is all
Oh my gosh, I love this. I'm like, man, I need to go to one of your workshops. This sounds so
about.
empowering. So tell me a little bit more about your career because I'm so curious about that because you worked for, I believe, 25 years as an advertising executive. And then even if you're in that job for a long time, which is an amazing commitment, by the way, 25 years, I know then you had that calling to start doing your Paint Your Heart workshop. So walk me through a little bit about that journey.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, advertising, marketing, branding, it's in my blood. It's my first love, and I
Oh,
always
wow.
will love it. And there's
Amazing.
times throughout many days where, whether it's my own branding or I help someone else, it's just something I love to do. Again, it's that visual. I'm so visual. So I can see, kind of what works, what doesn't work, or whatever. So after doing that for so many years and loving it, I had this moment where I thought, there's, there's got to be more to why I'm here. There's got to be more. As much as I loved it, I felt like this is a natural ending to this. I don't know if it'll start up again, but this has come full circle.
Mm.
So in that in-between time of, okay, what now? What's next? I decided to volunteer for a nonprofit. And I thought, wow, like, when you're in this for-profit world and you're successful and you're, just on this wonderful ride of something you love to do, I just never even thought about this whole other world out there about causes and mission work.
Mm.
Anyway, so I worked for a nonprofit and I really got to dedicate myself to this cause, which happened to be funding water wells in Uganda. But
Oh, okay.
it's just got me into this wonderful, I mean, it opened my heart and my soul to this amazing work. So that that experience and that work led me to the founder of another nonprofit called Art and Creativity for Healing.
Ah.
So that's when this whole idea of therapeutic arts and creative healing entered my world. And of course, creative healing, like I've been healing myself creatively my entire life, and now here's a place where I could actually do it.
Oh,
So,
wow. That sounds so
so
aligned.
yeah, so everything you go back and you connect the dots and you go, wow, okay, that person got me to that place and that place. So that journey was the catalyst for me to create Painting Your Heart
Mm.
so that I could expand the experience, bring in lots of other mediums, create custom curriculum and experience depending on who the client was, who the group was, what their goals were, what they wanted. So that was just that whole volunteer for the cause got me to where I am now, which is just another, we talked about trust and not trusting. Boy, I just trusted every moment because there were some very many lean years where I'm like, this is going to
Mm.
work for me. How do I make this happen? So diving, committing 100% and making that decision to just do it is, now I've landed here and I love it and I'm helping other people on their creative healing journey.
Which
So
is incredible, especially because it's so uncomfortable to trust the journey and trust that, you know, with all those uncertainties, all the challenges that came up. Like, how did you get through all that uncertainty? Because I think that's the one thing blocking people from trusting their intuition is like, will I be successful in this thing? How do I know it's going to work out? And I know a lot of entrepreneurs who struggle with this on a day-to-day basis. So what helped you stay with it, stay the course?
because I was 100% immersed in the process and because I know how it made me feel.
Mm,
And I just thought, you know what? You're meant to do this. I mean, again, I was back in the flow,
mm,
in that zone where you don't realize time is going. Time stops, actually. Time
mm,
stop. You could be creating, painting, whatever it is, and you go, oh my goodness, 4 hours went by. I need to do something else. So there's that being in it where it's so gratifying and it's fulfilling you in ways that it's hard to even put words to.
Mm-hmm.
You just love it. You just love it, and it's the freedom to just let it flow and go in the direction it's supposed to go in.
Mm.
And yeah, so again, trusting my process, trusting myself that it's going to take me somewhere, and then believing and trusting that the people that I'm helping will feel what I'm feeling and that I can guide them through that. So that at the end of the 2 hours, like, this is remarkable. I've learned a lot about myself. I've tapped a hidden part of myself. Some of them even discover um, a hidden talent that they might have, where they're like, wow, okay, because another thing is, which I hear in every single workshop, people, it could be one or two, and they'll say, I'm not creative. I haven't done anything since I was, 5 years old. And I'm like, but you are creative. You
Mm.
just never allowed yourself to just figure out or tap into that and play and go on this
Oh.
little sort of creative exploration to see cubes. Maybe painting, even though that is the medium we're using, maybe painting isn't their particular medium that they want to use. Maybe it's drawing, or maybe it's some other kind of creative expression, but they tap into the side of them where like, God, I just woke up a part of me that I didn't know existed. I
Mm.
just tapped into something that just filled my heart. That was, and again, it's the play and the wonder and the little adventure. If you just say yes, decide to
Mm.
come, because you just never know what you're going to get.
Oh my gosh.
And
Which is like creativity. It's like that's like the process
yes.
of being an artist. Like you
Yeah,
don't know what
because
you're going to create, but you allow yourself to go with that flow. You let that flow channel through you, and then you just see what you create, which is the whole fun of that creative process, which I think is amazing. But we don't give ourselves the permission to just create freely a lot of the time. I think that's why there is so much emotional struggle in the world too. Like there's so much depression and anxiety because, first of all, we're in a lifestyle where hustle culture is sort of respected and valued. And if you just sit and make art, like artists have such a bad rap, and it's like seen as little to low value to create like that, which I think it is shifting though. I think there's more value though seen in creators these days, but historically, we're sort of stuffing down that creativity because it's not valuable. Um, so, so I guess I'm curious for you because you've led so many of these workshops that help people overcome these emotional struggles. How can art serve as this tool to help people overcome emotional trauma or overcome any sort of emotional challenge they might be going through?
if you can tap into your spark that everyone has, if you can tap into that and just get into this sort of free flow, you might find what I found when I was a young
Mm,
child, where you just felt this calm, this soothing sort of experience where you forgot all the troubles, the burdens, the emotional wounds that you're carrying, and you're just letting yourself just be in this creative play, sense of wonder, and to
mm,
just let it go in the direction it's supposed to go in.
mm.
The key is to get out of your head.
Exactly.
I mean, I might still do it. I mean, even no matter what I'm doing, I'm like, oh my gosh, whether I'm writing, whatever, just stop. And so I have to take a break. I listen to music, I go for a walk, I be in a different environment, and then something comes in, whether it's the headline or the topic or the whatever it is, or the experience that I want to create for someone. It's just getting out of this mindset of, let me figure it out. Let me come up with a
Mm.
strategy. Let me come up with the end game, as opposed to you went out on the playground, no rules.
No rules.
No, hey, you got to do this, you got to follow that. You just go, maybe you got yelled at or something, or pulled aside if you were too loud or too something. But it's that just the freedom to let it flow without any purpose and anything that you have to do.
Mm.
So it's like dropping from here into the heart and into just, just maybe taking the breath and going, how does my heart feel? How does my heart feel? Well, my heart's on a break because it's enjoying the fact that, I got 20 minutes or a half hour now to just play and to enjoy this process and to imagine and to envision. I know there's a lot of people who aren't wired that way.
Hmm.
And every once in a while, someone will come into a workshop and they just can't seem to just let something flow because they're
Mm.
so trained on, well, I have to know how to do it,
Right.
as opposed to pick up your brush, tap it into any color you want, and just make a mark. What does it feel like to make a mark? What does it feel like to just put that blue paint down? What does it feel like to then just take another color and just express yourself? And again, there's prompts and there's a theme. And so I'm guiding them in the process. But there's a moment in time, because I'm watching everyone,
Hmm.
there's a moment in time where you can see, wow, that person just got it. That person just went, oh, okay. Wow, this feels good. It's just, like there's
Oh my
just this
gosh.
release.
Mm.
And so it's the release of just the sort of activity of moving paint and seeing color and then reacting to the color or reacting to the movement of the color that you're creating. And the release is also a relief, if you know
Mm.
what I mean, because they're like, oh, wow, I just let go. I let go. Now I understand. They'll say, now I understand that whole thing about you mentioning how you should feel. Just focus on how it feels in this process and not the what of what you're creating. If you
Right.
can just sort of the same emotions that you hold that are intense, that keep you tight, that prevent you from moving on, this is the opposite of that. If you can just if this is what tight is,
Hmm.
what is release? What does it feel like to release? If this is what holding on to feels like,
Hmm.
what does letting go feel like? And
Mm.
so if you guide them through this, they they eventually get the idea of, oh, I can just do whatever I want. Yeah, just do whatever you want. Just just
You,
yeah,
even when you say
just
that, I'm
let
like, oh,
go.
wow. Yeah. It sounds so freeing just to have that permission of like not having any sort of right or wrong, not having any sort of rules, just allowing yourself to express freely. Because I feel like a lot of us weren't given that permission when we were younger. A lot of us weren't given that permission to just express our emotions, express what we like, express our career choice that we want, and things like that. It's so interesting how so many times we've been sort of shut down and not accepted for who we are. And when you're describing this process to me, it's really kind of like that acceptance of this is what I want in the moment. I'm giving myself this permission to just let go, to let myself be me, to not be restrained in any way. So it's such a powerful transformation that you're guiding them through. I'm just like, this is not just, sketching something on paper. This is a transformation of noticing what you're holding on to and just giving yourself the permission to let go. And I feel like depression and anxiety and the emotional, like stress, it's all that tightening. It's like stress tightens the body. We're sort of protecting, we're guarding. And if we could just allow the defense to release, it's amazing what we could shift internally and also what we could create externally, which is beautiful.
Exactly. So, I mean, I think about your work and what you create and the breathing and the movement and the freedom that is a result of that. This is the same thing. You know, we're not we're not taught how to be vulnerable.
Mm,
We're pretty much taught the opposite. No, I know you don't share that. You don't want to tell that story. That's your own private business.
right.
So we hold on to all of it, and it just gets stuffed deeper and deeper into us. And then as adults, we have to learn that it's okay to be vulnerable, but that's the safety in the environment that I create for people to come into that and feel safe to be vulnerable. But the
Right.
other part of that is okay, all right, I can be vulnerable here because I'm hearing the stories of other people and their vulnerability, but it's also you and your decision to surrender to it, to let your body go, just as in your work. Let your body, let your body go. Do this. You're guiding them through this. This is the same thing.
Mm,
Let go, surrender to having to make anything that means anything. This is
right.
not a masterpiece. This is not a literal, realistic, beautiful version of Van Gogh's Starry Night. This is just, this is you
It's not.
making a mess on the canvas.
Yeah.
What it is.
Giving ourselves permission to be messy too, I think is a big
Yes,
thing because I
yes.
mean, with me growing up, there's a lot of perfectionism, a lot of, I think a lot of people could relate to that. We have to do it right. And just giving yourself the permission to be messy, imperfect, to be that human being and acknowledge all those parts of yourself that are imperfect. I think that's such a powerful thing to just acknowledge and witness that and let that part of you breathe finally, you know?
Yes, corporate employees can't do that,
Oh, not at all.
unless there's a,
No.
this, creative recess hour.
Oh,
I'm going to give you that hour or an hour
I
and a half,
love that
whatever it is.
framing.
You're going to
Yeah.
do that. You're going to let go. You're going
Yes.
to be vulnerable.
Yes.
Yeah. And
Oh my
then,
gosh.
mental health clinicians.
Yes.
They're
Oh my gosh.
so on it, taking care of everybody else. It's got to be exhausting if they don't give themselves their time to decompress and self-care in a way that fills their cup back up. I
Right.
mean, yeah, and take any group. I mean, nurses. You,
Yeah. Well, I was working in psych for 8 years, so yes, it's extremely exhausting.
yes, and it's there's been over the years a couple opportunities to try to work with them, but they're like nurses, work and sleep. And
Oh
it's like
yeah. That's a
finding the
whole culture.
time. Can we find 90 minutes to maybe give you that creative freedom?
It's rough out there.
Yes, yes.
They're so
So,
ingrained. It's so interesting how locked in we could be to like not even give ourselves a break. And I love that you give people that break to just help them connect with themselves and like what you're saying earlier, connect with that version of themselves they don't even discover, they don't even know themselves. So I love that you're giving people that sacred time to connect. And so I'm curious too, because I know you said you mentioned you work with corporate wellness and you also work with healthcare workers and also patients and things like that. How can people work with you and how can people get in touch with you?
okay. Well, my website is paintingyourheart.com. Um, I do group wellness workshops. In person, what I do is much more valuable in person. If
Mm,
someone wanted an online experience, that can be created, of course. Um, I also collaborate with other holistic health practitioners in combining different modalities to do, an afternoon type of thing, or even a workshop on a weekend where the two things create an amazing experience of healing. And then the third thing I
Mm.
do is I'm a guest facilitator for retreats and conferences.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yes, that's really exciting for me to be part of a retreat that combines various different experiences and to get on a one-to-one level intimately with a small group. That is just as healing for me as it is for everyone else.
Hmm.
So those are the ways that you can work with me. I'm here in Orange County, easy to find. I travel to LA, San Diego, and yeah, so
Do you do online workshops too, or it's all in person?
well, I can do online if it were a situation where people are kind of scattered all over the country and
Mm.
it's very specific thing to what they want.
Hmm.
It's not really challenging because what I do is not about the creative tools,
Mm.
not about the acrylic paint, the watercolor, or even the colored pencils. It's about the experience that I create and the journey that they go on in this 2 hours and how they're transformed in the experience. So
Right.
actually during the pandemic, one of my big clients is a cancer nonprofit.
Oh,
And so
wow.
we in March of 2020 had our last in person. And so the founder, Yoli of Cancer Kinship, said, "Oh my God, Christine, we need to do this online." I'm like, "How do we do that?" Like it just was so foreign to transfer what we were doing to a virtual thing.
I
But
bet.
we did it so easily because everybody said, "Okay, I got stuff. I've got paper,
Oh,
I've got paints, I've got stuff. Let's just do that." And so with the same kind of experience and exercise. But what the result of that, it was a much more intimate experience because here we are on the Zoom screen and we're all in this together. And there was actually deeper sharing that went on.
oh,
And, it took on a whole different element that wasn't in a workshop or a classroom where you're all in person. There was something about it because then the conversations would take off into different places,
mm.
and everybody would then sort of share on a deeper level or help others who were stuck maybe in a particular frame of mind or a mindset, but they also got support. It was this
Mm.
fellowship in the cancer community that just really was a beautiful thing to watch. And
Oh,
so
wow.
to be the witness and the facilitator was really wonderful because like I said before, I don't think I'd be doing this work if I didn't need my own kind of healing. So
Right.
yeah, so there's beauty in the online experience as well.
Right, right. Which it's awesome that you could still help facilitate that transformation, whether it's virtual or in person. And I also love what you said too about even though you went through your childhood challenges and even in adulthood, how those traumas were impacting you still in some ways. I love that you're able to use those experiences to bring you to where you are, where you're helping others and you're really helping people overcome their traumas and overcome their emotional struggles and find that part of them that is creative and that has joy and that has passion, which a lot of us are truly missing out on, I think, these days, which is really, really, not fun. And so I'm curious for you, for anyone who's really just interested, maybe they've been interested in creativity and they're going through some emotional challenges or trauma at the moment. Do you have any sort of wisdom you could impart to those people on how they could just get started on using art as a way to overcome?
I would say, if you have an hour on your Saturday morning,
Hmm.
sit down with, any kind of color tool. And maybe it's doodling.
Yeah.
Maybe, maybe it's getting out magazines and creating a collage. Maybe it's you know what? I think the first thing you need to do is to sit down and decide what's the emotion that's that's grabbing you in the moment. Like, what is
Mm.
it? Are you, is there some sort of anger? Are you harboring anger for something that happened? Are you feeling guilt for
Mm.
something? Um, Tap into the emotion that is the most present that you can name in your head.
Hmm.
And then, if writing, I don't know, maybe writing is your thing, write about that. Um, let's just say it's guilt. Okay, get out crayons and a piece of paper. What does guilt look like? What kind
Ooh.
of marks would express the intensity of what the guilt feels like? It's like you're
Mm.
getting you're getting inside the feeling, and
Hmm.
you're trying to envision what that feeling looks like in your body.
Mm.
Is guilt dark and muddy? Is guilt, a little tiny circle down in the corner because you don't
Hmm.
want to really look at it? Like, it's just like,
Little itty bitty.
yeah, I'm just making it up, but whatever it is, it's when you get in touch with your feelings, there's a lot of healing modalities that can help you.
Mm.
Even in your work, people are bringing emotions with them, and they're feeling better after they go through your process in your class. So
Right.
visually, try to create in your head and then drop into your heart. What would it look like? What is my heart filled with? Draw a heart and fill the heart with the colors of the emotions you're feeling.
Oh,
I
I
mean,
love
that's
that
that's
so
a
much.
simple thing.
Right. That is a nice simple one. Just like, oh,
Yeah,
fill
just
your heart up with the
draw a heart.
colors.
Now, what are you going to fill it with? What's going on right
Mm.
now?
Mm-hmm.
You have a broken heart. Do you have an aching
Mm.
heart? Um, is there a part of you that's feeling shame and you carry it there? I mean, you could come up with a litany of different exercises, but that would be a way because that's pretty simple for someone to visualize, you know,
Right.
if they're just struggle, if they're not a right brain person.
Right, right. Which happens,
Yes, so the analytical mind, I've got that too.
Yes.
But if you're an analyst, you're a mathematician, you're a scientist, and so it might be challenging for those people to go, what do you mean draw a heart? Well, just draw a heart. Yeah.
Right.
And fill it with color that matches what you're feeling.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much because I feel like, especially because with the work that I do with Qigong, which is a very mind body based practice, a lot of times, especially with trauma, people don't know what it feels like in their body. It's unsafe to feel an emotion, it's unsafe to even feel a sensation in the body. You don't know what that might trigger for people. So I love that art could be this medium of looking at how you're feeling, but you don't necessarily have to dive deep into the feeling viscerally yet because some people aren't ready for that. It might trigger something for them that could be painful in the moment. So I love that it could be this medium and a way of you just connecting with yourself without having to sort of dive deeply into that memory or that feeling. Like you don't have to go do that. It's really safe, but at the same time, it gives you a lot of perspective on what am I feeling? Like, why did I choose this color black? Why did I choose this color red? Like, it's so fascinating to have that way of connecting with ourselves, and you don't necessarily need to, go into the
Yeah,
go into the
you
pain.
don't
Yeah.
necessarily need to divulge your whole story of, your, healing life or experience or whatever. But yeah, it's naming it. It's number one,
Yes.
naming it. So just get in
Yes.
touch with what it is and name it.
Yeah. And once you give it a name, that helps
Once you
you
give it a
just
name,
know.
then you can go, oh, okay. All right. That's what
Oh,
it is. I don't like what I'm feeling. Okay, what does it look like? Put
yes.
it down. Again, what is behind this whole thing is this idea of creative play and wonder and exploration.
Yes. And I like
Like
that
you,
attitude of curiosity and wonder. Right.
yes, just an openness to just give this a shot. And
Mm,
not every workshop I do has to be a deep dive.
mhm.
It depends on who it is. Um,
Right.
yeah, but the creative recess hour, that pretty says pretty much what it is. I mean, that's what we're going to do. And it could be fun.
It sounds
You
super fun.
have
Like
some,
the minute you said it, I was like, that sounds fun. Like I
yeah,
want to
it's
do
just going to
that.
be fun. I understand, people are private. I understand that challenge to be vulnerable in front of other people. They don't know. But
Mm,
that's one of my biggest jobs in me creating that safe space. And everybody's had different degrees in how much they're willing to release and let go and to share.
right.
But when they see how others are sharing and letting go and just saying, I got to be vulnerable here because I got to get to the core of this. They showed up at a workshop because they were needing something.
Exactly.
The people that are showing up go, I don't know if I'm going to like this, and I don't know if I'm going to like what I'm going to find out, but I need to be
Mm,
there. I need to show up.
yes.
Just
And
need to show up and see
decide.
what happens. And then, man, they hear the story of someone else who's there, and they're like, oh my gosh, so there's someone else who's right where I am.
Mm,
So it's the human connection,
yes.
but it's that sense of I am in exactly the place I need to be in. I belong here.
Oh,
So
yes.
it's back
My
to
gosh.
all the human needs. And
Yes.
the connection, everybody talks about needing connection.
Oh, absolutely. It's necessary.
Everybody talks about belonging and feeling like you're home. I mean, this is at the very core. So if I can create that kind of environment where people in a 2 hour or 2 hour plus workshop just go, wow, this was so amazing. When are you going to do another one? Then I know that I've created a wonderful experience for people.
Oh, I love that. And I love that incorporating the community aspect and just seeing how powerful it could be to do that with others, because then you see, oh, I'm not alone. Maybe like other people are going through maybe similar challenges that I'm facing. And also just being vulnerable in front of others. I don't know, there's something that's really healing and releasing about it, even though it's really scary. There's something so freeing and releasing about just sharing what you're going through, sharing your story to others. And it could be healing for others to hear that story. And so I'm so proud of you and the work you're doing. And I think it's such transformative work. I think whoever gets to experience your workshop is incredibly lucky. And I think that you're doing amazing work to just help people overcome their emotional trauma, overcome their challenges in life, and live a more joyous life. So seriously, thank you for all the work you're doing. Thank you for being
Oh,
here and sharing your story. I love that you decided to go with your passion and you stuck through it, even with the uncertainties. And now that you're here and you're sharing what you do with others, and I think that's amazing.
oh, thank you, Charmaine. This has been awesome. This has been the first opportunity in a while to really share what I do and why I do it. And I know it's important work, and everybody could use it at some point in their life.
Oh yes, amazing. And I'm lucky enough to be in the Orange County area, so I'm so excited. I want to join one of your workshops soon. That'd be amazing. And for those of you who are interested in knowing more about Christine, I'm going to put her links in the description below, and I'm going to share all her goodness so you could stay connected with her. But thank you so much, Christine, for sharing, for being with us today, and I'm so grateful to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you. This was fun for me. Thank you.
Thank you.